New at 11, a Cumberland County man is facing new charges tonight after this video, and I want you to watch this with me. You see it right here, that man punching right there, punching a protester being led out at last night's Donald Trump rally in Fayetteville. But it's what happened next that made us go to the sheriff's office for answers. 26-year-old Rakeem Jones was punched in the face as he was escorted out of Donald Trump's rally last night. Speaking to CBS North Carolina, Jones describes what you see next.
You can see the deputies behind me and in front of me, and we're walking up, and they say, no, he came from nowhere. I look behind me, and then when I turn around, he elbowed me in my eye.
78-year-old John McGraw of Linden, North Carolina was arrested today and charged with the assault. He spoke to Inside Edition as he was leaving the rally.
Yes, he deserved it. The next time we see him, we might have to kill him.
McGraw made it back to his seat after the incident and was met with smiles and clapping. But Jones, he got a different reaction after being hit in the face. First from the crowd.
They screamed the racial slurs as I was walking out, go home.
And from deputies.
I was wrestled to the ground by Cumberland County Sheriff.
CBS North Carolina went to the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office for answers. After showing them the video, here's what they had to say about their deputies' actions. First, about why McGraw wasn't arrested for hitting Jones.
If we had stopped to investigate it at that time, we're afraid that we'd had a larger problem with more of the supporters coming over, and we'd had a large fight.
And why a deputy immediately put Jones on the ground.
He thought that he had assaulted an officer. So we've got a miscommunication.
My gut reaction is like, wow, this really happened. Then the further is add insult to injury, the police detained me like I did it.
A Trump representative said last night's incident was unfortunate but beyond their control. Jones was let go at the Crown Coliseum entrance. He doesn't face any charges for protesting. Meanwhile, the sheriff's office is collecting more videos for their investigation into the timeline of events. As part of that, hours ago, authorities added the charge of communicating threats to McGraw after they saw that Inside Edition video. Right now, McGraw's total secured bond is set at $5,000.
On the
We're on live. Peace and love. It's the master, Jason E. Williams, master in education. Knowledge is power. Peace to the gods and goddesses. Today we're going to really break down Donald Trump, the president's elections, the presidential elections. Let's just get it straight. And first we're going to talk about jobs. Let's talk about work. Let's talk about the so-called president of the United States who's talking about building a wall on Mexico. Because you're in California right now. You guys are tuned in. I'm in California, Southern California right now to be exact. YouTube world, internet world. We're dealing with a man who has repeatedly, over and over and over again, failed multi-millionaire businesses over and over again. The Trump University failure. The Taj Mahal. Learn about how they were trying to go against the mob in Las Vegas and wanted to open up something in New Jersey. And we see that New Jersey never got to the level of a Las Vegas. Now we're learning of a president who is a gangster. Now, I know that they send black people to the rallies like Sarah Palin, these thugs. These black people protesting. First of all, why would any nigga or black person in their right mind go to a Donald Trump rally to protest? So I'm going to have to double it up. I'm going to question and say these people are paid, and then we got fools. But then I do understand that people want to have a voice. I remember when I was in college and the protesting, the civil rights, that was the thing to do. But then you learn that the presidents are selected, y'all. They use these presidential candidates basically as a social experiment. So with Donald Trump and the whole Hillary Clinton fiasco, a few months ago they had the black Sergeant Ben Carson talking about he was an evangelical Christian that believed that the pyramids were stored for grain because that's what the Bible said. And we know that we can never elect anyone who, and that's why I say it's very dangerous when you elect a president who's a Christian and saying that you're going to ban Muslims from a land that you don't even own, but since you're the president, you feel that you have the willpower of basically what they would say as God, Allah, or the creator. That's what you're saying. As an Anglo-Saxon, European, Caucasian male whose ancestors stole the land that they live on, killed and murdered and lied and manipulated treaties, you're talking about you're going to build a wall to just stop Mexico. Are you nuts? Any person in their right mind as an adult, I'm thinking that a person shouldn't be able to vote till 35 and maybe 21 you could do local shit. Because clearly I'm seeing a sign that a lot of adults in America are mentally ill. And I'm going to say this because we all have been taught K through 12. It wasn't 1 through 12. The reason why it's K through 12 is because you're not learning anything. You're actually getting one program. The letter K represents 11, which comes after J, which is 10, which represents the new beginning. So if it's K which represents the number 11 in the numerical alphabet, when they say K through 12, that's just 11 through 12. So when we're learning about the French Revolution, the American Revolution, day in, every year, Christopher Columbus, George Washington, we're learning that Americans are not learning basic skills to advance us as humans and just advance the country itself. So now we're dealing with presidents that are starting separation, starting race riots, punch them in the face. What kind of leader, regardless of their color, would promote violence? So Danny, how do you feel about the politics going on right now?
Well, I was just trying to find out if Donald Trump was really in cahoots with the KKK.
Well, we definitely know that. We definitely know that just like Hillary Clinton was endorsed, she endorsed her friends who was a grand dragon for the KKK. So far as me as a melanated being, a black person, African American, more native, indigenous person, I'm saying neither of these candidates. Bernie Sanders says that black people shouldn't receive reparations, when we know that the law states that we're supposed to receive reparations. So there shouldn't be a question of that.
I guess here's the question I got. Is Bernie Sanders better than Hillary Clinton?
No.
Hillary Clinton's better than Bernie Sanders, or are they equal?
I don't deal with the politics, brother. For me, it's all politics. It's all an actual game, a social experiment to test people's frequency, see where they're at mentally, and manipulate that. For me, it's the queen, the goddess must rise. And we already know we've seen what white men have done in power throughout the ages of this American so-called society. And we know behind that, whether we deal with Masonry, Eastern Stars, and the founders of this country dealing with the hidden secrets of Aset or Isis, as which we would know as the worship of the woman. Before there was
I just want to do a shout out real quick online, worldwide.
Go ahead.
Live from Duke County, Northern California. Just wanted to throw that out there. It's about as racist as it gets, but there's definitely a lot of Donald Trump supporters out here, and there's a lot of Donald Trump haters. So I just want to throw that out there. And I was always kind of curious if Donald Trump was really that liked by people that didn't vote for Republicans, because all we got up here is Republicans. So I don't know. Well,
I do see black supporters. And I question that. I do, because we look at Hillary Clinton, we look at Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders. At the end of the day, us as children of the Matrix, like us as human beings, because Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump weren't raised in the hip hop culture of America. You know, these are older white people, you know, who are supposed to represent our country in foreign affairs. And that's a scary moment when the leader of a land that stole the land is still trying to dictate a certain philosophy, because if Hillary Clinton gets elected, she's still going with the Constitution. We saw with Barack Obama. I told niggas, I said, just because he's so-called black or mixed, you think that he can come into a presidency in a government that's already established and make a real change for you Negroes? Because that's what black people wanted. You wanted change, and it didn't come.
Ain't Hillary going to keep the Clinton regime going, though?
Anyone who gets hired, at the end of the day, anyone who gets hired for this corporation will do what the corporation does, because they're going for that job. They're going for that title. Just like if you're going for a teacher or a principal, you should know what the organization's about. In years, if you're a teacher, you know that you're teaching in 2016, but the education system started on the slave quarters. You know, so don't think that you're coming in and about to change the education system when there's a curriculum already set in place. You're a worker. You're a slave. Okay? Same with a president. A president isn't coming in to change society. That's what they're called politicians, politics, is because they're going in for their own agenda. They only manipulate the public with false ideas. That's like me when I won vice president of my school when I came to Riverside, and they kicked me out. The white teachers were mad because the white kids voted for me, and they kicked me out. So at the end of the day, it lets you know that even if you are a politician, you're not. It's like a kid saying, "We're gonna have free recess all day if I'm elected president. We're gonna have Pepsi soda instead of water. We're gonna have Pepsi."
Really voted for you?
I won.
Really voted for you, though?
I won in elementary. I won vice president in 5th grade. Yeah, I was the first fourth grader to win vice president, and they ended up taking my title from me because I got kicked off the bus. And I was listening to Chris Cross.
Hey, they were you the first black vice president in 4th grade?
Yeah, 4th to 5th grade at Rim Elementary, Riverside. And they took it from me.
That's nice.
That's a fact, and people could look that up if they went there. So, you know. So let's go back to the KKK rally. So now we see these so-called black protesters, whether they're hired or not, or whether you're a fucking fool just going there thinking you're going to make a difference, from racist white people supporting a white man that talks about banning people from a country that he doesn't even own. Okay, do you guys get this? So the old white man punches the black kid and knocks him down, and the police do not arrest the white man who sucker punched the black protester or black man being escorted out, not acting crazy. Then the police tackle him down. So now we're learning that the police are showing you black people what time you're about to deal with. It doesn't matter if Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump gets elected. You niggas are in the same position as you were in the 60s, 50s, 40s. You are still kidnapped. You are not being taught your true nationality. You're not being taught your true history, and you're not being taught who you are. Okay? And if a person doesn't know where they come from, they don't know where to go. So it doesn't matter who gets elected. You are enslaved. We are kidnapped. Our ancestors didn't believe in this shit. Our ancestors didn't walk around with a Bible, even though people want to debate that. And I'll say, with their printing machines, show me the original manuscripts. Don't show me a copy. If not, you can't talk about it. And this is why we take it back to ancient Kemet. We take it back to ancient Egypt, Atlantis, and we learn things for a fact. Timbuktu, Zimbabwe, the Zulus. We learn that so-called melanated beings were intelligent prior to European conquest. And those are the things that we're going to do to free ourselves. And we learn that Europeans themselves are learning that their forefathers were crooked. And so now we're learning that Europeans themselves are learning that they too come from African so-called black people, and that the original man does come up out of Africa, and he was not ignorant. We're learning, like I'm going to teach, that we were not swinging from trees. We were building pyramids, yes indeed. So we're going to teach that African black people throughout the planet, even in America, there were melanated people. We're going to teach that all black people did not come here in slave ships. There were actually so-called black people in America. Not all Africans were slaves. Not all black people were slaves. There were black people who were born free. These are things that they erase. So when we watch these presidential elections, I say, don't vote. Do what you do. I don't tell people to do anything, so I wouldn't say that. Do what you do. But for me, I don't get lost in it. So if people want to ask Jason Elm Street, are you going to vote? Why not? Because it's all bullshit. And I'm not saying that don't vote for certain local things. If you want to get into politics, I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, for me, at the level that I'm at in the game, I understand that the best thing I can do is open up my own business and work for myself and create things locally for myself. And that's the best way for me in my life to affect my world and do my mission. And so we might have to end it on that. Danny, are there any questions? And we talk about Chicago. We saw that the brothers in Chicago and sisters said, no, we're not having that. So for that, that's going to be an example of race riots to come. There's going to be race riots. There's going to be violence, because if it's not even November. The elections, I believe, in November. So if it's not even summertime and there's riots and people fighting over people, you're fighting over people. That's it. Donald Trump is a name. You don't even know that dude, but you're fighting over him. You're tripping out, and it doesn't make sense. And that's the whole point, is that I've come to the point to where I've seen enough black people, white people, yellow people, red people, Christian, Muslim, atheist. No matter how much we want to argue, everyone's saying it's bullshit. So we're going to have to find a way for all of us, no matter what color or gender or nationality or so-called religion, we're going to have to find a way to come together. And through coming together, we can solve all the problems. And that's what it's going to take. And that shouldn't be a problem for adults at our age, in our 30s and 40s, to come together. I'm Jason Elm Street Williams. You are the master. Find your inner glow. Knowledge equals power when applied correctly. California's coming back. West Coast, Riverside. Peace.